Mama sent round some soup.
Oh, thanks. Mama's soup. Now I know I'm crook.
She said, have you been to the doctors?
Tell Mama, the doctor said I'm suffering the transgressions of my youth. That should make her happy.
They sent their best at the pub. Doc said to tell you no one else will move in while you're away. You want me to run your slips for you?
Oh, perhaps in a couple of weeks, Dad.
What have you been up to?
Oh, studying yesterday's men. In case I'm ever in a quiz show. Who won the Melbourne Cup in 1929?
Night march. You have to do better than that. The bullfighter backed him to win 26,000 quid and backed Gay Blonde the same day at Eights to win 160,000 quid.
The bullfighter. Wilcott Fords. You sure?
Oh, it was in all the papers. It'll be in one of those books of yours. Look it up.
No need to. If you say it's true, it's true. I've never met anyone who knows as much about the game as you do.
In 1929, a bloke would be getting about £4 a week. Think of it. Walking up to a bookie with 20,000 quid. That's about 100 years' wages. And putting it all on a horse. That took guts.
Think of the bloke who set him for the 160,000 quid.
Jeez, you'd go cold.
Only if he counted the money, Dad. And if he was the sort that counted the money, he wouldn't have taken the bet in the first place. No bastard's got the style to do it any more these days. That's the difference. Used to be heaps of it. Mystery woman, plumber's ring.
Burnborough she used to back.
Big money on the nose. And she won time after time.
No one knew for certain who she was. She used to turn up in the ring, one bet, 6,000 quid, collect the money and go home. The mob used to follow her just to gawk.
Gloves and a big hat. I remember. She used to wear gloves and a big hat. You could see the big hat moving down the ring. And the mob just following her, just to watch her put the money down. Whatever happened to women's gloves? You wouldn't find a single pair in the whole of this lot.
What's that?
Peter's contact list. Poor blurred faces. Just waiting out there for some woman in a big hat to give them a second-hand thrill. I reckon we could show them a bit of the old style. What do you reckon?
How does the sound of tax-free profits appeal to you? How would you like to earn those tax-free profits from a no-risk, high-glamour industry?
Oh, that's wonderful, that is. Put some oomph into it. It's supposed to be exciting. Get your adrenaline pumping. Here, give it to me. Oh, tax-free profits from a no-risk, high-glamour industry. PP Investments offer you a once-in-a-lifetime chance to be involved with the sport of king.
Who's PP Investment?
Peter. It's his letterhead. He left a bit behind when he brought that list of punters round. I took it down to the instant print place down the road and got a few more copies run off. Now shut up and let me finish. PP Investments has propelled the sport of racing into the computer era, combining the sport's top experts with the latest computer technology. PP Investments has developed a no-risk, certain win system. And the beauty of the scheme is that the profits are tax-free.
Selling info. You're going to try to sell info. Oh, come on, Mick. Only the needy and the greedy ever buy info.
Sell? Who said anything about sell? We're talking investments here. Each week, PP Investments will offer the name of a racing thoroughbred selected by the computer as the most likely to win on the day. There is no charge, that's right, no charge for this service. We only ask that you protect the investment by not passing this information on to anyone else.
You're not going to try the old rough nailer con.
However, while there is no charge for this service, you may like to wager a small part of your investment on behalf of PP Investments. Should you be successful, just send the return on that part of your investment to PP Investments. On receipt of this money, we will know that you are interested in further tax-free goals.
It is. It's the rough nailer con. They used it in the 30s.
And I modified it and used it in the 40s and 50s.
Getting 2 months in Maitland for it, Ian. When was that?
It's refined a bit since then.
Your team of experts are the urges you write for the paper.
Of course. They pick, what, no more than half a dozen with a chance in any one race. We take the 4 of those most likely and send one of them to each one of Peter's contacts. Chances are that a quarter of the bastards will get the winner, and if half of them send cash back, we're laughing.
It's an old idea, Meg. Old and tired. They won't fall for it.
It's only old if you've heard of it, Dada. It's all about greed, and there's never been a time when greed's been out of fashion. I reckon we could do it in every race on Saturday. Let's take it easy. Race 5 it is. Helen's Choice, Prince Ranji, Neptune, Kaleidoscope. One of those 4 names in each envelope, Dada, and keep a list of who gets what. I think I've dreamed up a new twist to an old scheme.
This one threatens legal action for what it describes as a transparent attempt at a clumsy swindle.
What's his name?
It's a woman, Mrs. Lancaster.
Bet we didn't tip her a winner, Dada.
Money! They've sent money!
Bless their beautiful middle-class hearts. Oh, checks, they've sent checks.
Kaleidoscope.
What?
Kaleidoscope. We tipped Mrs. Lancaster Kaleidoscope. Finished out of a place.
Oh. Hell hath no fury like a mug punter on a dead one.
It's going back. Every last penny of it. Back. Christ, the police. What do I tell the police?
Did you sign the letters?
You did.
Did you know anything about the letters?
Of course not.
Then that's what you tell the coppers if they come looking. The bloke at the quick print shop will remember that I took your business paper in to have it copied. And the account's in my name. Down to me, son. Pure and simple, down to me. And remember, I've done it before.
Mick, you bastard.
What's wrong?
It's a cheque from Mama. She wasn't on the list.
Little present for Mama. She's been so good to me all these years. I tipped her the winner as a favour. What's the cheque for?
$250.
Struth. Someone who doesn't gamble, she's sure leaned on that one.
Thousands! There are thousands of dollars!
You counted for us, darling. There's a good girl. And keep a list of the names. I've got plans for them.
Mrs. Lancaster threatens the police. Consumer affairs. She'll ruin me. I'll never work in the industry again.
You write back to Mrs. Lancaster. You tell her you're outraged. It was a clumsy, practical joke perpetrated by one of your competitors. Hers is not the only letter you received, and you're considering taking legal action. In the meantime, if she would be good enough to let you know how much she invested, you'll return her money. It's all about greed, boy. The old bat'll see dollar signs. She'll tell you double the amount you put on the nag, and she'll shut them out.
This bloke wants to know if the amount he sends you can be written off against tax as investment advice.
You lot reckon I was a con man. What did he send?
$500.
Wow. Oh, write him a receipt. You got a receipt book handy, Peter?
You think this is funny, don't you? You're a crazy, stupid old man and you dreamed up this stuff just to ruin me. Well, it's going back. Keep the cheques and the letters together. I'll write a letter of apology, return the money, and hope to God that's the end of it.
Pity to waste all that money. How much is there, Guy?
$27,418.
Oh, God. The best you ever did before was 30 or 40 quid a week.
I've never dealt with this class of client before. Here's to superannuation.
They're checks, Mick. They can trace the checks back to you. It's too big a risk.
How many letters did you write? It's all going back.
Oh, wake up. These are a fraction of the people we sent the winner to, and we only tipped the winner to a quarter of those we sent letters to. By the size of some of these checks, some of the bastards got 1,000 or more. You're going to give it all back.
I cannot thank you enough. I have never enjoyed myself so much before. Is there some way I can subscribe to your wonderful service on a regular basis? Mrs. A. Phelan.
Bless your boyish heart, Mother-in.
There's a cheque for $100.
Is that all?
Don't be greedy. Well, a social worker, that's what I am. Social worker.
I won't cash the cheques. I've done nothing wrong if I don't cash the cheques.
I'm sure you're right. Chuck them in the fire. Burn them and forget them.
You can't burn all this money.
How many people did you write to?
What was it, Dada? 300, 400? I just bought a heap of stamps and kept sending them out.
360. 360 all up.
And only one of them has to go to the police.
What to say? Oh, I've been a silly Charlie. I've fallen for the oldest con in the book. I put $1,000 on a racehorse that didn't win because someone else told me to, someone I'd never heard of. Please stop laughing, officer.
They don't get the cops, Pete. Sometimes they try to find you to belt the shit out of you, but they don't send the cops.
The middle-aged mafia.
37, 38, 39. Only 39 people sent money.
Then there's a stakeout at the post office box, waiting for the villain to show.
Only 39 people sent money. There should be 90.
Then they leap into action with a quick karate chop that they learned from a cops and robbers show on TV.
90 people should have sent money. If you sent out 360 letters, then 90 people got the winner, and only 39 have sent money. There must be more to come.
They don't all send money, miss.
But that's cheating.
That's the ones that don't send money that I like to think about.
They've cheated you. Let me have the list with the names on it, and I'll write to them.
Some of them won't have backed the horse, miss. They'll have just torn the letter up.
But those that did will be thinking what clever people they are right now. Someone, some fool, has sent them money worth, information worth money on trust. Anybody that does that, to say pay me later, has got to be a fool.
The whole bloody thing is a shambles. A nightmare. There's got to be a way out of it. Christ, I can't even talk about it with anyone. Ask advice.
So right now, they're counting their money and thinking what clever dicks they are. But next Saturday, there's no magic information. Perhaps they go and make a bet on their own and lose. Who was that man with the money, the magic, they say? So they write, Dear P.P. McLaughlin, P.P. Investments. I'm sorry I was unable to send this money earlier as I've been out of Australia on business. Or, Dear Mr. P.P. Investments, a friend of mine has told me about your wonderful betting service. I was wondering if I could get... Oh, don't worry, darling. Just you think of the worms of greed gnawing. Their money will come in.
Peter, we could be rich.
We could go to jail.
We could do it on every race, couldn't we?
Don't be greedy, miss.
How many lists can you get? How many people can we write to?
Will you shut up, you stupid bitch?
Really rich. Not just keeping up, but really rich.
And rich as they say, bring power. But I've never understood that.
Oh, I don't want the power, just the money. This is exciting.
This is fraud. This is taking money under false pretenses. This is jail. This is ruin.
Why is it fraud? Why is it different to what you've been doing?
Don't pretend to be more stupid than you are.
Why, Peter? Why is it different?
You know.
I've never understood. Tell me.
Tell me.
You're offering information for sale that doesn't belong to you. You picked the names of the horses out of the paper, for Christ's sake.
I bought the paper.
You claim the information came from a computer. You don't own a computer. You don't know anything about computers.
The lists came from a computer. A computer printed the lists.
This might be a game to you. Who's going to send a senile old man to jail? But you'll ruin me. I'll kill you. I'll smash your stupid face.
Hang on a minute, Peter. I can still sit you on your arse if I have to. Just leave your father alone. It's a joke, that's all. Bit of a joke.
It's no joke, Dada. There's an army of little twerps like him out there. An army of urges. They make the old blokes who work at Flemington and the Moonee Valley look like angels.
It's a business. A registered business.
They dress the information up in a lot of fancy names. Debentures. Do you know what a debenture is, Dada? Mama's into debentures. A good thing on the last at Randwick, that's all it is. A horse by a different colour.
Professional advice is a legal, respected business. A service industry. To investors and to companies who... Oh, what's the use?
It's a legal way of selling gambling advice.
I couldn't argue with that, could you, Dada?
It's not gambling. It's the information derived from a careful analysis of the factors affecting the market. The earning capacity of one stock versus the other in comparison to the costs.
The state of the track.
Current and projected interest rates.
Weights at the last meeting.
The strength of the dollar.
Jockey's form.
The state of the local economy vis-a-vis world trends.
Is the jockey trying?
It's information collected from all around the world, assessed by experts. The risk factors are minimised and the earning capacity maximised.
That has a familiar ring to it. Tell him about the man in the boxer hat, Dada.
That's going back a bit.
Old stories. Yesterday's men.
Well, this bloke seems to have beaten you fellas to your business by a good many years. Just listen, you might learn something.
He worked the rings before the war. Set a book to beat the book, he did, and died a millionaire.
What's set a book to beat a book?
Well, miss, bookmakers try to even out the amount of money they're holding on any one race, so that no matter which horse wins, they win.
They don't just make the odds up in their heads, darling. They try and balance one horse against another so that there's always a bit left for them at the end.
The man in the boxer hat, oh, that's what the papers used to call him. No one knew his real name. Used to look at the whole ring, not just one bookmaker. Then he'd set up his own book, pitting one bookmaker against another. He might back 5 horses in the one race. So much with this bookmaker on this horse at these odds, so much with another bookmaker on another horse at these odds.
Sometimes he'd bet 6,000 quid on one race to win 500, but he never
A
lost.
mathematical genius he was.
Great story. I've heard it before.
But you never listened, did you?
He must have been a walking computer. A computer? A computer could do that.
Could it? How would it work?
You'd have to program it with the right information.
Well, what sort of information?
Well, the sort of information that decides which horse will win.
The weights, the state of the track?
Yes, yes. Can you tell me that?
Dad is the expert.
It still couldn't tell you which horse would win. Best it would do would be to get down to the 2 or 3 most likely to win.
Oh, we could do better than that. We could work out the degree of probability of them winning.
That's what you and I call the odds, Dada. And then, of course, all you'd have to do is find a bookmaker offering better odds than your degree of probability. Sit back and count the money.
Oh, that's easy. It's basic applied maths.
Who said the man in the boxer hat was dead?
Of course, we wouldn't want to risk any of our own money on this game.
Peter.
But it does have the sound of a genuinely saleable product.
We'll do it.
Worth getting a legal opinion on anyway.
Every race. We'll do it on every race.
I wouldn't be surprised if the real money wasn't in the software. We need to patent the software.
Just endorse those cheques for me, will you, Peter? You can write them off as a consultancy fee.
Do you have any idea of how much money is wagered every weekend in Australia? 70 million on the Melbourne Cup alone. Say 3 billion all up. That's got to be conservative. If we could capture 1% of the market, do you know what 1% of $1 billion is? Every year?
We're gonna be very, very rich. Oh, Mick, I love you.
Not a sign of it.
Perhaps he got rid of it.
His minty tin.
Well, when was the last time you saw it?
Physically saw it? When I was a kid. But he always talked about it.
When was the last time you saw it, Mr...
Oh, I've never actually seen it, miss. Mick used to talk about it all the time. After a good day, he'd flash a bundle of notes, you know. Minties for the 10, he'd say. But I never actually saw it.
You must have.
None of my business, Pete.
I'm getting the police.
What for?
I don't think Mick would like the thought of cops in his house, Pete.
Well, you wouldn't, would you?
Peter.
Here I am worrying about urges who might have lost a couple of bob to him over the years. And the biggest loser of all time is right here in the house. Has a key to the house.
I don't think Mr...
I can't blame you, Dada. Christ knows you've stayed behind and taken the kicks for him often enough. And I'm prepared to share with you. But I want that tin!
Your daddy's up in the hospital. You ask him for it. I talked to him tonight, he talked to me. If he wants you to have it, he'll tell you where it is. Mick and I have been mates for 50 years. You don't take from mates.
We're talking about $27,418, not a round of drinks at the pub.
Mick could say money's not money till it's in your hands and you can count it.
I'll soon count it, you bastard. Where is it?
Mick reckoned he earned it.
Mick's conned me again. Just the way he's done all my life. His scheme is a one-way ticket to jail.
We could still go to jail.
I explained his wonderful system to a fellow I was at school with, a solicitor. He laughed and said it sounded great to him and asked a brother barrister for an opinion.
He said it was an ambitious, inventive, colourful, highly fraudulent scheme.
Worth 5 years inside.
He said it was potentially a great little earner and he wished he had the guts to try it.
Will you shut up?
And he charges $480 for the opinion.
Mick had a laugh the day you left. He reckoned he hadn't told you anything you didn't want to hear.
Where's the money?
Instead of shouting, why don't you use your head? Think. Where would you hide it if you were your father?
I'm not my father and don't expect me to think like him. That's my money, Dada. Mine! I have a right to it!
Mick reckoned you'd just put it away and get 12% on it.
He would think like that. Pathetic. 16.5%. More on a second mortgage. Do you know what 16.5% is on $27,000?
Easy. Found
The tin?
Yes.
Where was it? Never mind, give it to me.
Simple. I just thought
Stand the
like
bloody lid down.
How long's it
Give me a
been
spoon
since
or
there's
something
been a
to
woman
lever
in
it
the
off.
house, Mr.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Spoons.
Years and
Will
years.
someone give me a spoon?
That's what I thought. And what's the one thing in a house that a bachelor never uses? The oven. It was in the oven. You said if I found the diamond ring, I could keep it.
The money. Where's the money?
Look for the ring.
I owe you 30 years old. Junk. Rubbish. What's the old bastard done with it?
Be careful with those papers, Pete. There's a lot of money there.
IOUs from dead has-beens.
There could be $1 million here. More. Money's no use to him, Mick said. He hasn't lived. Doesn't know how to enjoy money. Let's teach him a lesson. I'll send him a gift from the grave. Get his name in the papers. Give him a day at the races he'll never forget.
He took it to the races. He took all of it to the races. That crazy old bastard. He took $27,000 to the races and lost it all on one horse just to get his name in the papers. I'll kill him!
Not one horse, Pete. Lots of horses. And it's not lost. These tickets are for Saturday's meeting.
There's no money left, mister? No ring?
Oh, the ring went a long time ago, miss. Before the house.
The house?
Yeah, Mama bought the house off Mick years ago. He'd been going through a bad patch, you know.
Never mind the house. Tell me what he did with the money.
They took a little bit out and bought a new shirt, a silk shirt, and new shoes. Mick always liked good shoes.
The money! The money!
Then he sat down with the form guide and made up a list and took it down to Tats Club. A lot of bookmakers are members of Tats Club, miss. And he invested it all for this Saturday's race.
He didn't give you any?
Oh, it'd be no use to me, miss. I've lived with Mama too long.
We'll get it back. We'll go down to Tats and we'll cash in the tickets.
You can't do that, Pete. A bet's a bet. Besides, they wouldn't give it to you. It was Mick they set, not you. They'll pay whoever holds the ticket after the race, but you can't get it back now.
Show me how they work.
Well, he put 10,000 aside. Don't want to shoot our bolt too early, he said. Then he put 17,000 on 2 horses in the first race, split between 2 bookmakers, see? Got 7 to 2 and 4 to 1. Now, he started a chain with each of these bookmakers, betting all up with some of them.
All up?
Whatever you win, you bet it all again on another horse. And with these, he split it into a couple of each way bets. The 10,000 he put on a horse in the second race and started another chain.
It's a web. The old bastard has tied everything together in a maze. He's going to torture us all afternoon watching the money disappear. My guts have gone cold. Do you know that? I feel physically sick.
We could be rich.
Don't be stupid.
You can be very rich, miss.
No one is going to get rich. I just want that money. We can, what do Nick call it? We can lay it off, can't we? Just protect the bets he made. Just get the money back.
Oh, I suppose so, if you want to. I suppose you could back every horse in every race, but you'd need a lot of money to start with. And of course, the sooner Mick's chain was broken, the better.
Why?
It all ends up on the same horse in the last race, miss. Mick laughed about it when he told me. We might be broke by then, he said. Or we might have anything between 95,000 and $500,000 going round on the last. That's a race the young bastard won't forget in a hurry.
Jesus.
How much will we win?
No, you got set at 3 to 1, miss. If it wins, you'll have something between 400,000 and $2 million.
That's not keeping up. That's rich, 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 rich!
They just looked at me. Looked at me with empty eyes. $10,000, if any all up. If any all up! Can't be every day that someone walks in off the street and backs himself to pick the card. They cheated me. Oh, they'll pay out okay, but it's not the money. You don't do that sort of thing for the money. I wanted it to be personal. I wanted to see a bit of doubt in their eyes as they calculated the way the chain would grow. Me against them, the punter against the odds. That's all I wanted. Some of them meet me man to man, nerve to nerve. I put up real money for Christ's sake. I was prepared to sweat race by race, to scream as a winner came down the straight, or to swallow the bile if a close finish went the wrong way and took 15, 20 grand with it. But they sat and looked at me, took out a calculator, and worked the whole thing out. An interesting day at the races, Mr. McLaughlin, the smart young prick said as he handed me the tickets. Then his eyes said, "Notes money." Already knew how much you have to lay off and where. Just keeping a nice little percentage for himself, of course. The machines swallowed it up. Then it was me against those bloody faceless machines. There's no heart, no soul, no blood in it anymore.
Throwing your money away, our money away. You know that, don't you?
Look at them. Look at the chains the old bastard has set up. Do you have any concept of the odds against all of this falling into place? And of his horse winning the last race?
Exactly what I've been trying to get you to understand.
Do you have any idea of what the probability of that happening is?
Tell me and get it off your chest. You've been harping about it all day. You haven't a clue, have you? You're totally out of your depth. You've been throwing money and lists of horse at me all day, and you haven't the faintest idea of what you're doing.
I'm trying to calculate the bets necessary to stay in front of the old bastard. Where's Dada? I need him to translate the gibberish that's coming out of this radio. Dada!
Don't worry, we'll have the house when the old man goes. Don't worry, there'll be a couple of thousand in his minty tin when the old man goes. There'll be a diamond ring the size of a peanut when the old man goes.
Dada!
You know what's happening here, don't you? You're having your bluff called by a dead man. A dead man! If you could see how ridiculous you look.
Every dollar I've ever invested, all the money I could raise from our friends, it's all going to beat the old bastard. He's not going to cheat me again. Dada!
He's dead.
Are you sure? Did you see someone drive a stake through his heart?
He's laid out in the next room. His friends are turning up to pay their respects. They might just wonder why his son can't behave a little rationally, realise that the only chance he has to get even, if that's what you want to call it, with his father, is to hope that his horse comes home and makes you a millionaire. Let his bets stand and turn this thing down.
Just don't interfere with something you don't understand. Just take the money when it's given to you, run to the tab and put it on the horse that you're told to, and keep out of my way. This is personal. Dada!
Take your own money, throw your own money away. I hope he wins. I hope he beats you. What are you going to do then? Refuse to take the money? Tear up the tickets? Or take the money And think of him every time you get in the car, it buys you. Every time...
He isn't going to win!
There's a real weight developing in there. We're going to have to get some more beer if this keeps up, Pete. Oh, more flowers, miss. The room in there's full of them. Mrs. Theophilus has the worst case of hay fever you've ever seen. Tears streaming down the face. Mama says we'll have to start storing them somewhere else. Run a bit of water in the bath, she reckons, and we'll stack them there. That way they'll be nice and fresh for the funeral. Do you mind if we have this up a bit, Pete? All Mick's mates have got his selections for the meeting, you know. They like to hear how they're going.
Jesus H. Christ.
Mama's made some nice chicken sandwiches. Do you want some?
I choked at it. These chains have got to break soon. We're running out of money.
I told you it was going to take a lot of money. You had a couple of little place payouts to tickle the till, but you're chasing a lot of money now, Pete. And it'll take more and more so long as Mick's horses keep winning.
I've worked out the bets for the 4th, or I thought I had. This stupid thing just reeled off a different set of odds to the ones you've given me.
The market's moving, that's all, Pete.
Percentage points, Dada. 3 and 4 percentage points.
Yeah, it'll do that easy on an open betting race.
And how am I supposed to keep up with that? I've got to do all these calculations again.
Why don't you drop the outsiders, Pete? There's only 4 or 5 with any real chance. Mick's got 2 of them going, so if either of them bob up, you're on a winner. Concentrate on the other 3.
Not a chance. Not a chance. At the end of the day, I'm going to have the money I invested, plus the 27,000 the old bastard stole from me, and not a penny more or less.
Unless, of course, Mick gets up. He's going great guns so far, isn't he? He's got 58 grand going straight out on one in this, and 61,000 split each way on another. There's only 3 races to go. He's way ahead of you, Pete.
Don't you understand? The odds. You just can't beat the odds. That shriveled up old maggot lying in there played him all his life. And where did it get him? He's laid out in a house he lost to an old woman, and surrounded by a pack of baying no-hopers who'll be spewing drunk before the day's out. What makes you think his luck is about to change? The odds? You just can't beat the odds.
Oh, that's short. Someone's having a good sort of lick at one of Mick's selections.
It's moved. The bloody thing has moved again. I'm going to have to go down to the tab myself. I'll make the last set of calculations there.
Don't wait too long, Pete, or you'll miss getting on.
How do I...
Just give it to Ethel. She's the blonde one. The list and your money. I warned her this would be happening today. She's waiting for you.
Get Gay down there to take over from me. She can wait for the collect while I get back to work out the odds for the next race.
Peter, there's a horrible man in there.
Little baldy bloke, big moustache.
He had his arm around me, telling me how sorry he was about Mick.
Mike Sweeney.
I think he must have thought I was Mick's daughter or something. He had his arm around my shoulder. He was crying. And then I realised he had his hand up my shirt. Right up my shirt.
He always does that. Weddings, christenings, funerals. He gets sentimental. He doesn't mean any harm.
He's horrible.
Good sign writer, though. Funny thing is, he has to be half drunk to work. Sober, his hand shakes, see? And when he gets drunk, well, he gets sentimental and cries.
Where's Peter?
Gone to the tab to put money on the 4th.
You didn't tell him I haven't been putting any of his bets on.
No, miss.
What he doesn't know won't hurt him. Thousands of dollars he's handed over, and he hasn't beaten Mick yet. He's miles behind.
You going to give him the money back, miss?
I might. Would serve him right if I didn't. I've been thinking, I've never been to the races. I could buy a wonderful new outfit and go to one of the really big meetings. Would you come with me? Just to show me what happens, you understand. I could buy you some new clothes.
With Mick's money, with Pete's money, miss?
I think Mick would like that. Oh God, this is exciting. Show me, tell me how much we've won so far.
Well, of course, you had the one loss in the first race, but Mick's other chain's still alive from there, and another chain started in the second race. Now, you see, it's got down to these 2 horses in this next race. He's got 58,000 going straight out on this one, so it's got to win or you lose that lot. But he's got 61,000 split each way on this one. So if it wins or runs a place, the bank will build up again for the 5th race.
How much will we win?
Well, let's say it gets up at 2 to 1, 122,000 for the win and 15,000 for the place.
Oh,
And of course you get your money back.
I can taste it. I'm going to be rich. I can feel him. You know that, Mick? I can feel his hands on me, just like the night we danced and he told me about the 2-up school. $198,000, and there's more to come.
Mick would say money's never money till it's in your hands and you can count it, miss.
Get them out of here. Send them home.
Mick, I'd love to be here to see this. Sit down, miss. I'll get Mama to make you a nice cup of tea.
We've got to stop it. There's got to be some way of stopping it.
He'd be laughing. Some of those old buggers have been following his trips all day. The local tab must be wondering what hit it. Young Pete throwing bets at them they've only dreamed about before, and some of those old buggers have won as much as $1,000.
My money. They're winning my money.
Even Mama's had a little flutter.
Please, mister.
Dada, miss. Just call me Dada.
All that money, we've got to stop it. That money, it's enough. Why can't we take it? Why can't we take it now?
Only one race to go, miss.
$250,000. You can't put $250,000 on a racehorse. It's stupid. It's crazy. You can't do it.
Think of the collect, miss. I'll be talking about this collect for years. Mick's going to be famous.
Mr. Dada, please. I've been dry reaching, please. All that money. We can't lose all our money.
Their money, miss. Mick would say we're playing with their money. If you win, it's a bonus. Lose, and all you're doing is giving them back their money. You got to think of the fun, he'd say, not the money.
Christ, there's a philosophy to live by.
There'll be some fellas coming round from one of the television stations. Mama rang them to tell them what was going on. They want to do a story on Mick for the news. They said to collect up any old photos you might have of him when he was a jockey, that sort of thing. A gift from the grave, they called the story. Said it was great. Did you find any old photos when you were going through his things?
You think this is funny, don't you?
I think it's sad Mick's not here to see it all, Peter. All his life he lived for something like this. But he'd be real pleased to see his old mates having a win and to know that you and the young lady stood to get such a big collect.
There'll be no collect. The bloody horse isn't going to win. Life doesn't work like that. He thought like that. He bet on it, and what's he left behind? A pile of dead IOUs. Look at you, Dad. If it wasn't for Mama, you wouldn't know where your next meal was coming from. You can't mock life. This afternoon's been a game. A game a vicious old man tricked me into playing. And he knew what the end would be because he played it all his life.
If you don't want the tickets in the last race, give them to me. I'll share them up with the mates who've come to see Mick off. I'll tell you this much, win or lose, they'll talk about this race for the rest of their lives. Oh, the television blokes asked where Mick's body was. Mama told them it was here and there was a bit of a wait going on. They said it'd be great if they could lift the coffin and even get a picture of him. What do you think? The old bloke wouldn't half laugh if he knew he was on television.
Go to buggery.
Ready, 1 or 2 seconds in position for running of the heavily handicapped. Broadway that stands up well in the rail position. Been a big front of this horse. He does look the part.
Quiet you, like, come in here. It's Mick's last race.
Take up your position. And forward readiness for running